What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to QVO Games. My name is Juan. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it so much. This week's video is going to be about the games coming to retail the week of September 26th. Almost said 8th. September 26th. We're at the last week of September. Usually the last quarter for a lot of companies too. So publishing is kind of there. There's still so many games that look like they're going to come out, but maybe are being pushed back. I'll remind you, of course, and keep you updated on any future games that get released. However, let's get this video going and let's get these games showcased. Yeah. So if you are a publisher and you're watching this video, you want your games featured in the games coming to retail videos that are done weekly and posted on Mondays, please reach out to me with details and information about your game and the release date, the exact release date of the game, and I'll make sure to publish it in the correct video. If there is a cutoff, for example, if your game is being released next week, the first week of October, make sure to have that game to me by Friday before the week of, right? So it'd be this Friday for October. So the Friday before the release date week of your game. That way we can make sure we have it published in the video. And it's also the video is going to be up on the Board Game Nexus for more showcasing of all your games as well. So we have about 7 games so far. It's 7 games. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's about like 4 games and some expansions. So let's get this going. Let's get the video going to keep it nice and short. And let's start off with September 28th, which is going to be Wildstyle by Pandasaurus Games. Pretty interesting game. The theme is different. It's more about like I want to say graffiti, but it's not in the negative sense. It's about graffiti, but it's more about different artists getting their artistic talent. Also in different parts of like the region in the US, graffiti is actually kind of like not really frowned upon. It's encouraged by the art tax in the States. So pretty cool stuff. Wildstyle essentially is going to be a real-time game where your whole goal essentially is to try to spread your artistic influence throughout different regions of the city. And if you notice, the hexagon tiles are there, and those are going to be where like you put your little token there and indicating you have artistic influence there, your graffiti is in place there. The art style alone is really, really cool. The theme is really different too. There's not a lot of games in and around this theme. And I think Pandasaurus Games is actually doing a really good job about doing that. They do have the rulebook on their website as well. I'm trying to see. Here it is. Perfect. I was looking for this same exact picture. So there's going to be a bunch of different cards and such, and your whole goal essentially is to spread your influence around the city with your graffiti art style. The game looks really cool. It looks super interesting. It's, like I said, it's really different. No really other publishers or no one's really published a game about graffiti like this. So even the theme is unique. I would recommend checking it out. It's going to be Wildstyle by Pandasaurus Games, released on September 28th. On September 29th, Birdwatcher by Renegade Games is going to be releasing. So Birdwatcher, everyone looks at this game and really wants to compare it to Wingspan, the most popular, not the most popular, probably a really, really popular game. Almost gateway-ish, I think, to this point of how popular it is. So Birdwatcher is going to play a little bit differently. So Birdwatcher is your whole thing is you're a photographer and you're photographing birds to try to make a photography showcase or like a photo album to get points out of. So the game itself is going to have a couple of different actions. And I'm trying to actually, perfect. The game was on Kickstarter before. That's why I kind of came over here and grabbed these pictures. I could not find pictures anywhere else. If you are a publisher and you are releasing a game, we have to be releasing more pictures. It was so difficult for me to find out how the game looks. I think a lot of games usually are, the first thing you see is like pictures or the components, and that usually what drags you in. I just couldn't find pictures for this, so luckily enough I found the Kickstarter. Found out it was on Kickstarter, which I did not know about, and I got to grab some like really nice images here for you guys. So essentially, there's going to be a canopy or somewhere in the middle here, like the jungle, I guess it's called, where you're going to want a bird call or call birds over to your tree. And on your tree, you're going to photograph the birds. After you photograph the birds, you actually end up, they get scared away. But essentially, what you have left there is a picture of the bird. So the card itself is the picture you took. You're going to move it over down to your bottom tableau area, and you're going to be collecting those to try to even get points by publishing your findings by a scientific community. And that's really cool. It's actually a really cool game. It looks interesting. Apparently, you can teach in like 5 to 6 minutes. So it's really quick to play compared to like, I think Wingspan can be, I don't think it's hard to play, but definitely for new players, it can be a little intimidating. So Birdwatcher might be your new gateway game to like a bird theme style board game, right? So it looks really cool and really interesting. It's by Birdwatcher Games, called Birdwatcher, coming out September 29th. Village Rails by Osprey Games. So this game was actually really difficult to find pictures for as well. So this game is being released September 29th. Please keep this in mind and note this. This game, I believe, is going to be pushed back. I reached out. September 29th looks like it's being publicated. Maybe the day you can buy it from their website as well, ospreypublishing.com. However, I have a really weird feeling this game's going to be pushed back to October. If that happens, I'll update you the week of the new release date of the game. However, for now, let's talk about it since it's apparently releasing September 29th, which is in 4 days from now. I believe it would be Friday or Thursday. Let's actually find out really fast here. September 29th. Looks like it would be Thursday. Yeah. So, the game is a network building game with cards. It's a card game. It's network building. Also, pretty affordable price. $28 isn't too bad. Hopefully, they give you enough cards because it is a bunch of cards essentially. Network building game. You're building out a railroad network essentially. You're trying to get resources to be transferred over to your area to try to connect and build different things to get points. The game itself, honestly, I couldn't even find a real book for it. They do have some coverage out. I think Meeple University put out a couple videos, so that you can watch those as well to make sure if you're interested in the game. It's a locomotive building game. I think the game that reminds me a lot of is Brass Birmingham or Brass Lancashire, where you're trying to create a network. But the thing is, I actually did find a picture on their Twitter page. So these are going to be the cards right here. These are the coins you get from like building out your goals here. And it looks pretty interesting. There's so many games like this already. I feel like there's an oversaturation of these themed games. Even like train games lately have been coming out a lot. I think a lot of people are releasing them. However, this is Village Rails coming out September 29th by Osprey Games. So, this is going to be a great... September 30th, we have a bunch of stuff coming out. So, we have the Scarlet Keys. Actually, I think we might be missing a game. No, we're good. We're on track. September 30th, we have the Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion by Arkham Horror. The Arkham Horror, the card game. Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion. So, I talked about LCGs so much. This is an LCG. It's a living card game. You purchase the game. You know exactly what cards are in it. It's really, really cool. I like this style of gaming. Marvel Champions is similar to this, and there's actually a couple releases for Marvel Champions. This is going to be the Scarlet Keys Investigator expansion. What the Investigator expansion is in the Arkham Horror LCG, it's just basically extra characters to play as, and maybe some extra cool abilities and items, which is always good, especially for like they actually have a campaign called the Scarlet Keys campaign expansion coming out as well. Not the release date today, not release date of the 30th though. It's going to be in the future. This is going to be the investigator pack, so it's going to be new investigators, new abilities, new powers, new ways of playing. That's essentially what that is as a whole. If you don't know what the Arkham Horror series is, it's an H.P. Lovecraft thing where they have different mythos that you're going up against, either like a doomsday thing. Your whole goal is to save the world or save the city or a town. That's kind of the goal, the gist of it. And there's a campaign that goes along with it, so there's a whole story and narrative. Super, super cool game. Keep in mind, when you play these games, they're not really one-offs, so that's really hard to do. Each game is like, the scenario is continuous. So you're going to be playing this scenario, this scenario, this, and this scenario. And you have to play it that way because it alters your cards, your decks, and what you do with your character, essentially. So keep that in mind. You just can't do one-offs and just play one. You have to play them like all consecutively, or else you mess up the flow of the game. You have to restart from the beginning. So, Scarlet Keys Investigator Expansion by Fantasy Flight Games coming out September 30th. Coming out September 30th as well is going to be Marvel Champions of the LCG. It's going to be Phoenix. It's a hero pack or character expansion. They are now getting... So, Marvel Champions as a whole is now getting into the X-Men realm of things. So, you have like Cyclops. And actually, I'm talking about all of them. Cyclops. They have a campaign. Mutant Genesis coming out. So, Mutant Genesis is going to be another campaign. And it's going to be a campaign about Sentinels, of course. And it includes 2 new characters. But, real quick. Phoenix. They have Jean Grey, basically. It's Jean Grey. Jean Grey, one of the X-Men. They're adding these new character expansions. If you don't know what Marvel Champions is, it's an LCG. Same thing, card game. Plays very similarly to Arkham Horror. Not exactly the same, but similarly. Very similarly. This is going to be a character expansion. New cards, new decks, new abilities. These decks, essentially, you can grab and build your own deck with a different character and take out cards from here if they're not really character-specific cards. And you can actually create decks. You can create decks. And Arkham Horror is the same way. You create a deck. It's a deck-building game. But it's kind of pre-constructed. You don't build it while playing, like, for example, Clank or Dominion or other deck-building games like that. So this is going to be the Phoenix pack. This is going to be the Cyclops pack coming out as well. Very cool stuff. They're doing a lot of great stuff with this. I am a really big fan. Marvel Champions, I believe, is my #1 game of all time. So this is going to be Cyclops and the Mutant Genesis pack. Essentially what these are, these campaign expansions, they basically come with the campaign or story. And they come with 2 new characters as well, which is Kitty Pryde, which is Shadow Cat, and Colossus, which is the big titanium steel guy. So you're going to have 2 decks in here plus a campaign. It's a good way to start the game if you're into X-Men and not into the rest of the Marvel characters. But the base game, which I believe is right behind me right here, the base game does come with a really nice... It's the core set. The core set essentially comes with a good amount of characters and a good amount of villains stuff. It's a good way to start off. However, if you're really big, like, I don't like those characters, I want to play the X-Men one, I guess. You definitely could start here. You don't really need a base set besides, I believe, the tokens. So you will need the token. You need a base set for the tokens, and then if you want, and then you can go off to the Mutant Genesis one. So Mutant Genesis is going to just be an campaign expansion for X-Men. All this stuff, this Phoenix, Cyclops, and Mutant Genesis are all coming out on September 30th. So there's going to be another one here. Ooh, I started off a little bit farther down. A new Catan's coming out September 30th as well. Catan this is going to be a standalone game, Dawn of Humankind, and it's going to be a re-implementation of the older game, which I cannot remember what it was. It was something about a Stone Age, something like that. You guys are really going to be mad at me, but I've never played Catan. I actually never played the game, and it's really popular. I plan to eventually try it out. I'm getting there slowly but surely. But basically, Catan, if you don't know what this is, which a lot of people already do, and you're like me who actually did not know, the Dawn of Humankind is you're going to be starting off as a Homo sapien group of people coming in from Africa, which is like we're in science. That's where it all started out, in Africa, and then we started expanding out. So you're going to be going all the way back to, there it is. The original game, the Settlers of the Stone Age. That is the original Catan one. This is re-implemented and like revamped with updated components. And they also do, I think they added a couple of gameplay elements and mechanics as well. So it's going to be a standalone game. You don't have to have Catan, the original one, or all the other Catans there are. And there's so many Catans nowadays. So this is going to be the Settlers of Catan, Dawn of Humankind, the re-implementation of the older one, the Settlers of the Stone Age. Yeah, plays like Catan. You roll a die. You roll a die. You end up actually... You roll a die. You pull your cards. You find out if you get resources or not, collecting them. And you even get to travel, I think. Yeah, perfect. That's beautiful. That's so cool. This is what we need in every game publisher's website. So you also even get to travel around on boats and stuff like that. These are little hexagons, so that's pretty cool. So you're going to travel around on boats to get to other sides. Looks really cool and interesting. I can't really talk much from experience. I have never played Catan. I plan to eventually, like I said, but this one looks cool and interesting. If you're a big Catan fan, you got to have them all. It looks interesting. It looks cool. They even have some really cool components. That's cool. I love 3D components like that on boards, not flat surfaces. I think it just adds to the experience more and just gives that. There's going to be the 4 players, the 4 different tribes you start off as before you start expanding. Super cool stuff. Catan coming out September 30th. And that is it. That is all the games. So there's a couple of good games. There's a lot of good games, actually. And there's going to be I'm really excited. I think we're coming into the new, we're coming into the new fiscal year, I would believe. We're coming into a different year now at this point, and there's going to be so many releases now for the holiday season. I am really excited to publish that and start talking about those games and show you and showcase them to you. I'm also going to be publishing a video more than likely about talking about all the future games, maybe even a holiday list or a must-buy list as well for you guys. So keep an eye out for that. And thank you for if you made it this far, I definitely appreciate it so much. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe. That's super awesome that you made it this far. I want to listen to a random person here from Las Vegas just talk about all these games. So thank you so much, and I appreciate it. Have a good one.